Well, Carradine's not like that, but he doesn't have to be because he's got the pass rush ability. He's fast. He's faster than Justin. So you've got Smith, Carradine, Lynch, all coming at you at one time. There's not a defensive line that can stop that.
With Tory Smith going deep, I think we can really stretch out the defense and have more passes completed between the 10 to 30 yard completion rate rather than just dumping them down for little 3-4 yard completions every time we're trying to go deep for 80 yards in one play. So yeah, I'm really liking the pickup of Tory Smith.
Are you listening?
How is your summer doing so far? Well, we got a little over 70 days before the season opens up, but better. We only have another, well, I should say half the time before the preseason gets underway and your football fix will be in. J.J. Watt and the Texans will square off against our guys on August the 15th. And at that time, the camp battles that are going to be raging, I would pay the same money that I would pay to get into a game just to be able to sit in and watch the competition for positions between wide receiver and cornerback. Ooh, that is going to be something to watch. But between now and then, there's going to be a lot to see anyway. Speaking of which, coming out of camp this offseason so far, some of my favorite quotes. One of them is this: who said, "I decided I didn't want to do the money grab. I made the best choice for my career. I don't regret it at all. I love the facility, I love the program, I love the staff, and I love the team. I feel like I belong here." You're right, DeAndre White. He is up to his neck in competition as well. He's who I'm talking about. Between DeAndre White, Jerome Simpson, Quentin Patton, Bruce Ellington. If Bruce is healthy and tired for camp, also Dre Anderson. Some of those other undrafted free agents that Trent brought in, their names may emerge suddenly too. We've not heard that much about them. But DeAndre White, Dre Anderson, Patton, those are the hottest names in camp right now as far as the competition. Let me say something right now I meant to mention last week. If you see me on Instagram, I'd like to go to a page called Seahawks Roast Page, Go Niners. That's Seahawks Roast Page, Go Niners. Every now and then, I like to go over there and beat up on Hawks fans. The 12th man likes to hang out a lot over at that particular page, and I'm there to beat him up. It's sponsored by one of our guys. That's why I'm over there. Sometimes you'll see me get a little rude and belligerent. I know, it's not normally me. Don't mind it, don't be afraid. In fact, you should join in. That's what the Hawks are there for us to abuse. They're laboring under the illusion that they're going back to the Super Bowl. We are the ones who have to set them straight on that before the games even get underway. Oh, and let's get right to that point right now. Everybody thinks that we're out of it. We're not going to be able to compete. That we've got no chance because of the people who left. That we haven't got a plan. That we are out of it before we even start.
No! Let me just say this about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
What the media and fans don't know is the Niners will automatically improve just when players recovering from injury and returning to the lineup. People don't know what they're talking about. And let me point out this fact. Some of the holes everybody is talking about did us a favor by becoming a hole. I ain't gonna mention the names, but one of them is over in Oakland and the other is in Arizona. He can drop passes over the Coliseum all he wants. And Carson Palmer needs protection in that pocket. Hope he has plenty of insurance. I got two more reasons for why the Niners will improve this season.
What's that?
Colin Kaepernick. People completely forgot how good he was before last season's experiment failed.
So true.
The man has been working hard this offseason, Rombo.
I know it.
You remember that movie of NBA star Ray Allen? He got game.
Yeah.
Cap will be doing a sequel. By week 3, fans will be yelling, Cap is back. And that's all I got to say, bro.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a little bit. Cap is back, baby.
Yeah.
Cap is back.
Ooh, he is so right. Let's tell you what. Let's get over to the cam right now, and you and I are going to discuss some reasons why, indeed, the 49ers will be competing in 2015. Niner fam introducing from Utah. His name is Nate. And just like me, Nate has had about enough of no respect around the NFL from fans. The media's been beating us up for I don't know how long. Nate, how are you today, bro?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Rombo?
Great, man. Now, I understand. I know in Utah, you're right where Denver fans have got to be running around. What kind of nonsense are you hearing in Utah?
You know, it's a small line between Arizona fans and Denver fans. We got them both everywhere, and everybody thinks that they're the greatest. Denver got a small taste of what we play every year when Seattle worked them in the Super Bowl again.
Dude, you know what? You know what I'm glad, Nate? I'm glad we're not near Jacksonville or Tampa Bay. These are the two lowliest teams in the NFL. Would they be giving us flack too?
You know, I think, look at Oakland. They're not going to be anything. They can't win more than 3 games, but they're talking like they're Super Bowl contenders this year. I think it's just their way of, you know, staying faithful to their team and, you know, trying to drive it home.
You see what I'm saying? So until the games are played, we're going to have to endure a lot of stuff. But Nate, that's why I ask you the question, do we need to take in all this nonsense? Are you afraid of the 2015 season? Is there anything concerning you as far as being buried with that dirt they keep throwing on top of us?
No way, Rombo. We're just going to let them pile it on, and we're going to be like Rocky IV, and we're just going to come out and knock everybody out.
Give me some reasons behind that. Because what I'm finding now is as soon as Raider fans, Hawks fans, and any of the other fans start bothering us, they say, oh, how you going to back that up? All your people left. Well, what you got to say about that?
You know, I was reading a couple articles this morning waiting for you, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the people they're talking about that we left, they're talking about this big drastic devastation. But we lost Willis and Davis, Smith, Borland. Willis and Davis only played a combined 7 games last year, and they weren't up to snuff. Smith's percentages dropped over the last 2 or 3 years. Borland was our biggest hit. That guy was an animal. You know, but I think Borland is going to get replaced by Bowman, who's still one of the greatest linebackers to play. So that's covered. And the secondary, oh, man, that is getting good. That is our secret weapon that nobody's going to expect.
That's what I'm talking about. Name some names, bro. And that secondary, these are people nobody even knows about.
If we get 2013 Tramaine Brock back, 6 interceptions, right side of the field is covered. And from what I'm hearing, they're going to move Brock around with the number 1 wideout of whoever we play, which is great because Keith Reaser has played all 3 positions, and he is excelling. I'm excited to see this guy. Was super bummed he had that injury, but he's ready. And from what I hear in minicamp, he's the only guy to shut down Antoine Bethea and pick off Cap 3 times. So if that doesn't tell you what this guy's doing, and that's going to be awesome. Then you've got Reid and Bethea covering over the top. Jimmy Ward's going to get hurt. I'm not sure what Trent sees in him, but he hasn't lived up. But then Tart's going to step in. Oh, man, that's like having 3 Dante Whitners on the field at the same time. Can you imagine that?
It's like I got that same feeling from that as when I'm going to have a steak dinner. I'm already watering at the mouth before I even start eating, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. With that kind of secondary, you've got a lot of depth with that. So you got any combination you can move around. I'm only concerned about Sharice Wright. Will Trent let it go? It was a bad pickup. Let some of the young guys get in there that have just got in to prove that they have a position on this team. Am I right?
You're right. Here's what I like about Wright, and the same thing with Chris Cook. They're good, solid veterans if an injury happens or if a player needs rest. They're good to fill in. Johnson's starting to look like a little bit of a letdown. He had 7 or 8 drops in minicamp and OTA, so he's not looking like he did last year. But that could be jitters. He could be knocking the rust off. So I like Wright and Cook with the veteran leadership to be able to step in if Reaser or Johnson or Brock get hurt. The thing that scares me about Wright is he likes to be hands-on, and we saw last year how they were really going after that. So that could definitely bite us in the butt.
Moving right into the linebacker core. Now, you just mentioned we've already got Bowman returning, and this is what I'm talking about. We got players returning from last year's squad that make up for any holes that they continually accuse us of holes. Name a hole that you just mentioned. Justin Smith had slowed down just a little bit. But the hole at linebacker, who are you going to put in that hole? Have you thought about some of the guys that are trying out for that position? Who do you like? Because as it's already been said, Bowman and Willhoite, it doesn't matter who you pick next to him, but who are you going to put?
I really like Willhoite. That guy showed a lot of promise, and I think, if he keeps his attitude, I think he's going to get that tender signed, and I think he's going to get a long contract. I really like him next to – he was excellent next to Borland, who was a rookie. Can you imagine putting that guy next to Bowman? I mean, it's just going to reflect his playing even better. And then you've got Brooks and Smith on one side. They get tired. You swap them out for Lynch and Harold. There's not a quarterback that can stand that pass rush for 60 minutes. It's going to be insane, which is going to help us from last year because our pass rush was non-existent. I mean, we give Rodgers and Brady and Manning 5-10 seconds. Man, there's not a secondary that can cover for that. If we can get to the quarterback, I think we can really have our way.
An exclamation point on that as well. Here's the thing, because the Cowboy was slowing down just a little bit. Now, you take Tank Carradine. These are the guys he's mentored for the last 2 seasons. You take Tank Carradine and Quentin Dial. Dial is the biggest guy in the defensive squad. Understand he's moved ahead of Tank by just a little bit. Now you put that big monster next to... I understand that Darnell Dockett is probably going to start, but he doesn't look like he's ready just yet. But even if you got Ian Williams or Glenn Dorsey at the nose tackle, he's surrounded by 2 pass rushers. You've got Smith on the edge on the right. You got Lynch on the left. Even if Ahmad Brooks starts, that is incredible pressure. Where's the quarterback going to go? This is why I say, why should we be concerned? Your feeling on that?
I feel you, Rombo, and I get that Justin Smith wasn't a pass rush monster, but he absorbed those players to give Smith the freedom. Well, Carradine's not like that, but he doesn't have to be because he's got the pass rush ability. He's fast. He's faster than Justin. So you've got Smith, Carradine, Lynch, all coming at you at one time. There's not a defensive line that can stop that. They're going to be so used to our Smith guard blocking that having 3-4 of these guys coming at you one time, and then you've got the middle of the field covered with our excellent linebackers and our undisclosed secondary. It's going to be a lot more challenging for quarterbacks than they think.
Eric Mangini. They say, and I'm just quoting, I'm not going to go along with it until I see it in action, but they say Eric Mangini, or should they call him Eric Mangenius, his defensive schemes with the talent he's got now granted, nobody's going to have the 3 technique that the Cowboy did for taking up 2 and 3 men, but like you said, the rush is going to be so fast. The impact's going to be so quick that even if you don't take out 2 blockers at the same time, the confusion, the collapsing of that pocket, all those things happening at the same time is going to allow guys like, Aldon Smith, who's already lightning fast. It doesn't matter now. This is why when they say that we don't have a legitimate coaching staff, get out of here with that. We got guys up and down the staff. Besides Mangini, who do you like on our staff that is going to be doing a job?
Bleacher Report did a really nice fallback on Jeep Christ. And what he was able to do with San Diego with nothing is, I think he's going to be awesome with something. I think he's going to do really well with Kaepernick. The other guy I like is I watched the mic'd up OTAs with Don Shula. And this guy is the perfect combination of discipline and compliment. I really like him. And the players, there was no back talk. The players respect him. They take what he says and they work for him. He's a player's coach. He's out there in his warm-ups. He doesn't put himself above anybody, and I really like that. It's kind of that blue-collar thing that Harbaugh was preaching, except he's in the blue-collar shirt. I'm really digging Don Shula. He's going to be coach of the year, and these guys are going to go far.
Ooh, and that's that COY for Don Shula after all we're having to endure right now. Real quickly, Steve Logan, one of the best QB coaches that you can absolutely find. Why are people talking about him as if he weren't going to help Colin Kaepernick, who's already been doing his homework anyway?
The thing I like about Logan is he's not trying to change what Warner's done, which was my biggest fear, was he was going to come in and implement his own style. He's going with Kaepernick, learn from Warner, and they're magnifying it, and I think that is awesome.
So we'll be able to continue to say, who's got it better than us?
Oh, absolutely, and I think you're going to see a Colin Kaepernick this year that is going to light people up. I was reading a report here, and they were picking plays Cap didn't have touch. He could come up with 5 bad throws from Kaepernick, 17 beautiful touch passes from Kaepernick. But everybody throws that in Kaepernick's face because they don't want to like him.
Yeah, beautiful point. Nate, before you go, I got to have the holler, man.
You know it, brother.
3, 2, 1.
Niners, yeah!
Now that's rock and roll. Let me introduce, all the way from New Zealand, his name is Xavier. Xavier, hello, my man.
Hey, Rumbo, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's my pleasure. Anytime I can find another 49er fan around the world, I'm on top of it, man. So glad to meet you. Hey, we're going to first talk about, just real briefly, Jared Hayne. He's out here on the west coast of the USA. And I know he's from Australia. How is the sentiment toward Jared Hayne in New Zealand as compared to Australia?
New Zealand's just as big of a back of Jared Hayne as Australia is. He's like our little golden boy. He's probably the most exciting player we've ever had go anywhere near the NFL. And he's got the speed, he's got the power. What we need to do is just try to transition him from rugby league into the NFL. It'll be a tough task for him, but if he can get it done, I reckon he can be a real star in the NFL.
Now, you know I've got a pet peeve. I'm really sick and tired of the holes that just keep being mentioned. No matter what's been seen so far, the media won't let it go. Oh, man, what's your feeling on that?
Yeah, the media they never really pick up the good parts of the off season. They always pick on the bad things, pick on what we need to fix. And I truly think that we've filled most of our holes, especially in our receiver core with the pickup of Tory Smith. We've always needed a deep threat, and he's got the really good speed. He's got the good speed factor over the top. So if he can stretch out the safeties, because the safeties all of last year was playing down within 15 to 20 yards of the box, so we couldn't play anything to the outsides because they would get picked. With Tory Smith going deep, I think we can really stretch out the defense and have more passes completed between the 10 to 30 yard completion rate rather than just dumping them down for little 3-4 yard completions every time we're trying to go deep for 80 yards in one play. So yeah, I'm really liking the pickup of Tory Smith.
Xavier, I love your point right there too, because here's the thing. You mentioned stuff in that box. They would put that box for Frank Gore come through there 8 and 9 guys deep. You wouldn't see anybody in the backfield. I mean, it was just waiting for Frank to get that ball, and we handed it to him. Our offense had no imagination, and of course we ran right into him. And so, the top, like you mentioned, has been taken off. We've got a more diversified offense. We're ready to roll, man. We are ready to roll.
It's looking good, especially with the point you brought up with stacking the box for Frank Gore in the run. Now that we've got Carlos Hyde, he's got a little bit more of the speed factor over Frank, but he's still got the power. So if we can get them creeping up in the box again, run a play action, send Tory deep, sends probably Anquan, maybe even Vernon Davis just over the middle, you'll find someone open, whether it's Tory down deep for 40-50 yards or whether it's Anquan or Vernon over there for the first down.
Don't forget about Reggie Bush. You can stick him in the slot. He's the relief guy. If things go south in the middle of a play, all Cap's got to do is dump it off.
Yeah.
10 yards. And now, Xavier, if things really go bad and all the chaos is going to be created by the secondary having to scramble back and they can't shift forward now Cap's magic legs, man. We're talking 10 to 15 yards. He may be able to throw that ball out of bounds if things are going really bad, but now there's that avenue that's now open.
Yeah, I just hated how Harbour and Roman tried to keep Cap in the pocket last season. The reason that we did so well, the reason that we went to the playoffs and really far in the playoffs the last 3 years out of the 4 is because Cap was allowed to run. If you look at the Green Bay wildcard round, I think it was 2013, correct me if I'm wrong, but where Cap took off for 181 yards, which is the most in NFL history for a quarterback in any game. That's the Cap that we need. Cap is a dual threat. We can't be taking that away from him. Yeah, he can pass. He got a good strong arm, but the accuracy isn't all there yet. And he's got the speed. You can't teach speed. And Cap's got that as it was given to him. So if we need him to use it, like he showed in the last 2 games, week 16 against San Diego and week 17 against Arizona. I think in those games together, he racked up a combined 150 yards between them, which was, I think, more than the first 14 games, which just showed that Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, as much as he was a good coach, they wanted to keep Cap in the pocket, and Cap isn't a pocket passer. He's a dual threat. As soon as he can get out of the pocket, dragging one of the defenders down, taking them off his man, he can dump it down to, I don't know, Reggie or Vernon Davis for an easy 10-yard completion that could maybe take it 30, 40 yards.
We already know what last year's team was capable of and how they went about doing things that became so routine. This year's team is going to be a little more diverse. It's going to be a little bit filled with more surprises. If you had to put one team against the other, which team do you think would actually win?
I truly think last year's team would win, because last year's team, you brought up the fact of like execution. Like execution was the biggest thing for us last year. I still remember week 2 against the Bears, we were up in the 4th quarter and Cap threw 2 picks. If we just kept the ball on the ground, ran the ball, chewed clock, punted the ball if we needed to, and just kept the ball on the field, we would have won that game. That's the same with the San Diego game, week 16. We were up, I think it was 28-7 at half. All we needed to do was run the ball. If we ran the ball, time would slow down, the Chargers would need to pick the pace up, and they would probably, knowing Philip Rivers in a game time situation, he would probably end up throwing a pick or throwing a dangerous pass that we could then get the ball back, get into field goal position, kick a field goal, and just keep going up those points up by 3 each. We just wouldn't stick to running the ball. If the run was working, Greg Roman, for some reason, decided let's go away from the run, which they had been struggling with all game, and go to a play action or a pass. And that wasn't working, and he just refused to turn it around.
Clock management. Xavier, before we go, you gotta give me the holler, man. You thought you were gonna get away, huh? Let me give you the 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Niners!
Thank you, Xavier. Nate, man, you guys, I'm so delighted to meet you. Hey, see you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and listen, remember, because when I come back, I'm going to be looking for you. And the best way for you to know when I'm looking for you is to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Meanwhile, I got to go. Count me up out of here.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Niners!